got something fascinating here. Elon Musk, the world's richest man, is sleeping on the floor of government buildings. Why? Because he's leading what might be the most important audit in American history. Think about that. The guy who built rockets and electric cars is now combing through federal spreadsheets, and what he's finding is absolutely staggering. Your tax dollars, billions of them, spent on things so absurd you won't believe they're real. A $90,000 bag of bushings that should cost $100. Yeah, that happened. And it gets worse. Much, much worse. And speaking of uncovering the truth, isn't it time we talked about what's really in your collagen supplement? While DOGE exposes billions in government waste, I've discovered something shocking about store-bought collagen. Most of it poorly sourced, barely effective. That's why I trust this multi-collagen formula with 5 key types sourced from 4 different places. It's like the DOGE of collagen supplements. Nothing gets past their quality control. Visit healthwithgary.com to get 51% off during their special audit season promotion. Get your skin great again at healthwithgary.com. Okay, check this out. This is just in the Gateway Pundit with this headline: Barack Obama inadvertently created DOGE department when covering for Obamacare website failure. Who knew? Yeah, this is breaking news. Obama's blunder. We posted this on our X account 3 hours ago, and if you're not following us there, you need to. Obama's blunder gave Trump and Musk the keys to the deep state. Obama thought he was covering up his disastrous Obamacare website, but he accidentally created the very tool that Trump is now using to dismantle the deep state. When Obamacare's billion-dollar website failed, you remember that? Well, it was all over the news. Obama rushed to create the United States Digital Service to fix it. What started as a cover-up for Michelle Obama's corrupt vendor choice became the backdoor Trump needed. Trump simply rebranded it as the DOGE department, giving Musk total access to government tech systems. Now, Musk is exposing billions in fraud. The Treasury is making payments to people without social security numbers. The Pentagon, the Treasury, and entire bureaucracy are getting audited. Obama judges are desperately trying to block Musk from seeing the deep state's money laundering schemes. And here is the kicker. Elizabeth Warren's Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is next on the chopping block. This is history in the making. The very system Obama created to protect his mess is now being used to expose it all, and the left is in full panic mode. We have this. Speaking of panic, Representative Rosa DeLauro, the Democrat from Connecticut, yeah, you know who I'm talking about, this creature right here. She says President Trump defunding USAID was just the beginning. Now he's going to go after the Department of Education. Well, of course he is.
Italians. But I think it was prescient what President Trump said today. The U.S. aid was just a skirmish. They're going after the Department of Education and limiting people's opportunity to get an education in this country. The dream of my parents, Irish, Italians, Polish, the entire, parents want their kids to get the best of an education, and they're going to deny it. We are going to respond to it, and we are responding to it.
Something tells me that if you get rid of the Department of Education, it's not going to affect your local school board because your local taxes go to that. And here's that moment. This is that historic moment that we have all been unburdened by what once burdened us. Here is when they took the sign, the letters off of the USAID building. I mean, when I saw it initially, Adam Schiff had made a post about it. And I'm like, is this real? Is this like really happening? Like, pinch me. What is going on here? But yeah, they actually pulled the letters off of the building, covered up the logo. Bye-bye. Finally, it is done. That CIA front group is no more, at least for now. And then we have this Gunter Eagleman posting this meme. We need to see Trump's taxes. That's, the rallying cry of the Democrats for so long. And of course, we shouldn't see how USAID spends your tax money. No, we can't handle that. Oh, and I wanted to bring this up. Now, this is, of course, from about a couple days ago. And remember when Maxine Waters and then they all went to the Department of Education? I found this angle that was like really at the start of the whole thing, and I want to share it with you because it just shows you how crazy that these leftists are as we President Trump and Elon Musk continue to cut the waste, fraud, and abuse from the federal bureaucracy. Defiant L says, as much as I enjoy these meltdowns, I feel bad for this man having to deal with them. This is, remember that security guard? Let's listen to this.
Yeah, I remember that.
We're going to talk there. All access.
We're members of Congress.
Article 1.
We're members of Congress. We're members of Congress.
We're coming in. Don't lock the door. We're coming in. Who are you?
You're not coming in.
Who are you?
Who are you?
Who are you? Who are you? Who are you?
Who are you, sir?
Do you have business here? Yes.
I sent the Assistant Secretary a letter alerting her that we would be here today, and we've asked her for a meeting.
Yeah, I remember that. Accepted, sir, until that's accepted. It doesn't need to be accepted.
What authority do you have? And what do you do here?
What do you do here?
Security responsibility.
Get out of the way. We pay for your job. We pay you.
We're members of
We pay you.
We're here
Nobody is
as
accepting the
members of Congress.
We haven't heard that from the Secretary. We haven't heard that from the spokesman.
I'm relaying that.
So
You are not the spokesman for the department. You are a security guard.
Can you identify yourself?
I already did. We are members of Congress. We'd like them to defend that.
You don't have any identification. Where's your ID? Where's your ID?
Where's your
It's not
ID?
good enough.
We are not a threat to
Yeah, look at Maxine Waters. Not good enough. Oh, these people are unhinged. Now we've got this from Teddy Roosevelt. The Department of Health and Human Services sent the city of Austin, Texas Gov, a fat federal check for $31.8 billion to pay for HIV emergency relief project grants. Here is the receipt for that payment. The question being raised, is there an HIV emergency in Austin in 2025? How many people in Austin have HIV? Did the city of Austin distribute this $31.8 million to HIV patients to pay for their medication and health care? If you're an Austin resident who has HIV, please reply to this post and let us know if you received a dime of relief from this $31.8 million in federal money to pay for your medication. Yeah, it continues. In Harris County, they transfer money into a flex account to avoid the red tape, federal compliance requirements, and spending deadlines attached to receiving money from Uncle Sam. They've transferred $115 million so far. Yeah, it continues. And we're here to expose it all. That's why we exist. Here is an MSNBC host. This was posted just 4 hours ago by Media Lies. An MSNBC host radically gaslighting Americans, claiming that blacks will be negatively impacted most by Trump's cuts of bureaucracy. Yeah, they're continuing stoking division among the races in this country. They point out here that African Americans also pay taxes. Trump's cuts of government waste is likely going to save all Americans money, regardless of race. Here we go with the gaslighting from MSNBC.
Federal data shows that the federal workforce is the largest employer in the nation, and federal data shows that black Americans who have historically found greater equity in the public sector compared to the private sector will disproportionately bear the brunt of Trump's effort to gut the federal workforce. Black people are more likely to be employed by state or federal government than any other demographic. According to a Center for American Progress analysis of 2022 data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, approximately 1 in 5 black workers are employed in the public sector. That's not the.
Okay, so they work for the government. What's the point? I mean, what are you getting at? Because Trump's going to cut the bureaucracy, then this percentage of the American population who works for the government, let's not talk about race. Let's just talk about how many people in the government are going to lose their jobs. But they want to make it about race all the time. Here we have Kanekoa the Great. 4 hours ago, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth on the DOD will be partnering with Elon Musk and the DOGE. Expect to find hundreds of billions of dollars in wasteful spending. This was on Fox Business with Maria Bartiromo. Listen.
In a row, and I applaud them.
So tell us about this upcoming look at the spending at the Defense Department. Should we expect hundreds of billions of dollars in wasteful spending there?
Unfortunately, I think so. And we very much, the president is right. He's setting the pace. And he is also correct that American taxpayers deserve to know exactly how and where their money is spent. The fact that I have to commit, Maria, to an audit being done in 4 years is bad enough. The Pentagon should be able to pass a budget right now. Thankfully, the Marine Corps has passed a clean audit for 2 years in a row, and I applaud them. But that needs to go across the entire department. So that will be a focus. Where we spend dollars, we need to know, or when we spend dollars, we need to know where they're going and why. That's simple accounting, and that has not existed at the Defense Department. We're going to fix that. But that's not even DOGE. I mean, we welcome Elon Musk and DOGE coming into our department to help us identify additional ways in which we can streamline processes, fast-track acquisitions, cut waste, cut tail to put it to tooth. We know in a world where America's, $37 trillion in debt, resources will not be unlimited. So every dollar we can find that isn't being spent wisely is one we can put toward warfighters. So we welcome DOGE at DOD. We will partner with them, and it's long overdue. The Defense Department's got a huge budget, but it needs to be responsible.
Yes, it does. And the party isn't over yet. Here's that pastor again. The Second Missionary Baptist Church calling for violence against DOGE and Elon Musk. So
attempt to take us back to a day that we do not want to go. And I will say to you, beloved, no one likes violence, but sometimes violence is necessary. When Elon Musk forces his way into the United States Treasury and threatens to steal your personal information and your Social Security check, there is the possibility of violence.
Yeah, I don't think that Elon Musk is stealing anyone's Social Security check. Somebody needs to investigate this guy real quick. This kind of language should not be presented from the pulpit. Here we have White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller on USAID talking about what it was actually funding, an army of left-wing activists.
Even beyond that, the USAID was a slush fund, first of all, for left-wing projects around the globe, like gender surgeries around the world, diversity, equity, and inclusion policies, crazy Green New Deal climate scams, and every other lunatic left-wing project that is bankrupting this country. But even beyond that, it was funding an army of left-wing activists, these NGOs, non-governmental organizations, NGOs. They get billions and billions of dollars, and they use that money to then infiltrate corporate America, to then infiltrate the public sector, to then resettle, for example, at taxpayer expense, millions of illegal aliens into this country, to drive racist equity policies, to drive radical left gender policies. And so what we've learned is that the left's, this mammoth left-wing power structure, plus left-wing media, wasn't organic. It wasn't created naturally. It was funded by taxpayer dollars. And that is why they are screaming and screeching so loud now, is because President Trump is cutting off the slush fund to the organizations that hate and hurt America. The U.S.
Game over. It's all getting exposed in real time every single day. Here we have Elon Musk posting this 24 hours ago. Secretary of Defense Hegseth is driving hard for a comprehensive overhaul that strengthens the U.S. military and improves the lives and combat power of the United States soldiers. He was quote tweeting America and the video from President Trump's interview on Fox for the Super Bowl. Listen.
And I've had a great, I don't know if it's kickbacks or what's going on, but the people, look, I ran on this, and the people want me to find it. And I've had a great help with Elon Musk, who's been terrific.
Bottom line, you say you trust him.
Trust Elon? Oh, he's not gaining anything. In fact, I wonder how he can devote the time to it. He's so into it. But I told him do that. Then I'm going to tell him very soon, like maybe in 24 hours, to go check the Department of Education. He's going to find the same thing. Then I'm going to go to the military. Let's check the military. We're going to find billions, hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud and abuse. And, the people elected me on that. I don't know.
Oh, man, it's all getting exposed. One piece of bureaucracy, one agency at a time. Culture War posting this, replying to Chief Nerd. She has no idea what she's talking about. She's a phone crisis actress like AOC. Bill Gates and his organization are a constitutional crisis that needs to be shut down Monday morning. Bill Gates' vaccine organization Gavi Alliance vaccine promoter was awarded $4 trillion? Almost $5 trillion. What? Come on. Are you serious? What? Well, that's ludicrous. Oh my. Look, $5 trillion.
Worried.
Mr. Gates,
Here's Gates.
Also called Elon Musk's political influence abroad, quote, insane, along with another word we can't repeat here. But what's your take on his political access and influence here in America right now?
Well, Elon, his private sector work, has been very innovative, really fantastic. A lot of private sector people, when they get into government, they don't take the time necessarily to see what the good work is or why it's structured the way it is. So I'm a little worried, particularly with this USAID stuff. My foundation partners with USAID on nutrition and getting vaccines out. And, there's incredible people. They're not actually worms that work there. So, hopefully we'll get some of that work back in shape. In fact, if we don't, you could have literally millions of deaths. So,
millions of deaths, he claims. Well, I mean, you've got how many billions of dollars, Gates? I mean, why don't you just go ahead and just fund it yourself? Why do you need taxpayer money? Why does it work like that? If you're such a philanthropist, why don't you fund it? No, but you're going to go ahead and attack when we cut the fat from government. Why? Because you're not going to get that government money anymore. And then we have this. The New York Post reports Trump is purging the deep state. Security clearances have now been revoked for Anthony Blinken, the ex-Secretary of State mastermind behind the Dirty 51 intel op that lied about Hunter's laptop. Letitia James, New York Attorney General who weaponized lawfare. This is straight from the New York Post. New York Attorney General weaponized lawfare to destroy Trump with bogus civil fraud case. Alvin Bragg, Manhattan DA, who led the politically motivated hush money prosecution. Jake Sullivan, Biden's national security advisor, deep in the Trump-Russia collusion hoax. Lisa Monaco, Biden's deputy attorney general, helped orchestrate the DOJ witch hunts. Andrew Weissman, Mueller's Russiagate hatchet man, now an MSNBC shill. Mark Zaid, the CIA lawyer who pushed the Trump-Ukraine impeachment scam. Norm Eisen, the Dem impeachment puppet master who worked to take down Trump. The gloves are off, and Trump is draining the swamp like never before. Oh, the party keeps going, folks. I love this. This is the greatest news cycle in the history of my life. Here we have this from Liberalcrat on X. Love seeing people waking up to what the Democrat Party has become. The more DOGE uncovers, coupled with all of the president's wins, we're only going to see more people leave the Democrat Party and join us at MAGA America First. Let's watch this. All right, looks like she is ready to say, well, I'm walking away. Put on my MAGA hat. There it is. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, Democrat Party. What else have we got here? USA. Oh, this was wonderful. I mean, not wonderful, but like wonderfully exposed. I was shocked beyond belief, but I wasn't surprised, to be honest with you. Geiger Capital posting this 48 hours ago. USAID took $500 million, $500 million in taxes from Americans, and sent it to an NGO called Internews Network. They work with 4,000 plus outlets to, quote, train journalists and tackle disinformation. It's led by Gene Borgalt, who makes $500,000 a year. It's a literal state propaganda network. WikiLeaks, he was quoting WikiLeaks. Here, look at this. This is it. This is the building. WikiLeaks posted USAID and state funneled nearly $500 million through this building, which is at 8767 7th Street in Arcata, California. The IRS and in government contracts list this as a current registered address for although it was clearly abandoned by December of 2024. This is a photograph that was taken months ago. In IN's funding, Internews funding has doubled since 2016. Yeah. Okay. Now, where is, okay, so I did post, okay, where it is, Internews Network. I got a better picture of it, like a close-up. I went to the Google Maps and looked at the shot. I think I've got it right here. There it is. Whoops, what happened? My bad. I must have hit a button. I apologize. Okay, so Geiger Capital. Here is Jean Borgault. Exactly as you would expect. She previously worked for USAID itself for 6 years. Also for Wired, who's been leading the media attack on the DOGE team. Here she is. And at the bottom of her bio, it says worked for the U.S. Agency for International Development. And this is the close-up shot that I was able to get using Google Maps at that address. And you can clearly see Internews right there on the photograph as they were passing through. And then we have this, Wall Street Apes. 24 hours ago, why is Elon Musk supporting Ron Paul leading an audit of the Federal Reserve? Why is it such a big deal? Because the Fed has never had a full audit or full disclosure of monetary policy decisions. Here is an example. The Fed got caught doing $500 billion in swaps overseas with no oversight. Let's flash back to this historic moment. I'll never forget this.
I'm sure who got the money? To financial institutions in Europe and other countries. Which ones? I don't know.
There's Ben Bernanke, the former Fed chair.
$500 billion, and you don't know who got the money? The loans go to the central banks, and they then put them out to their institutions to try to bring down short-term interest rates in dollar markets around the world. Well, let's start with which central banks got the money. There are 14 of them, which are listed I'm sure they're listed in here somewhere. All right, so who actually made that decision to hand out $1 trillion that way? $500 billion. Who made that decision? The Federal Open Market Committee. Okay, and was it done at one time or in a series of meetings? A series of meetings. And under what legal authority? We have a long-standing legal authority to do swaps with other central banks. Do you have to know it's not an emergency authority of any kind. Anything specific about it? Do you know my counsel says Section 14 of the Federal Reserve Act. Who got the money?
Yeah, keep trying. Elon Musk is going to uncover everything. And when they crack the Fed, man, it is going to be time to pop some champagne. And speaking of the Paul family, Senator Mike Lee floating former Representative Ron Paul for Federal Reserve Chairman. Elon Musk says it's an amazing idea. Yes, look at your screen right now. John Solomon reporting 24 hours ago, Senator Mike Lee floats former Rep. Ron Paul for Fed chair. Could you imagine? Could you imagine that? Oh my goodness. Oh, that would be the most beautiful thing. The most beautiful thing. Seeing Ron Paul as the Fed chair. Oh, he would just dismantle that. Him and Rand and Elon and Trump just taking that building apart piece by piece. Oh, my God. Just the news reporting it. Please make it so. Please, please make it so. Oh, my goodness. Here we have more. Mario to fall 24 hours ago. Elon, defeating bureaucracy is almost as difficult as breaking physics. The challenge is overcoming bureaucracy. Bureaucracy is perhaps the penultimate boss battle. Let's take it back to Elon.
The challenge is overcoming bureaucracy. And I think bureaucracy is perhaps I'd say the penultimate boss battle. The ultimate boss battle is defeating entropy, which physics tells us we cannot defeat entropy. The second hardest battle is defeating bureaucracy. But you know, that's how difficult it is to improve government. The challenge is overcoming bureaucracy, and And I think bureaucracy is perhaps I'd say the penultimate boss battle.
Oh, yeah, baby. Let's keep going. The party's continuing here. The Next News Network. Trump has instructed Musk to audit the Pentagon
on spending. Given quickly to follow up on what Peter was asking, have you directed Elon Musk to review Pentagon spending, given it's the biggest discretionary spending in the federal budget?
Yes, I have Pentagon, education, just about everything. We're going to go through everything, just as it was so bad with what we just went through with this horrible situation we just went through. And I guess 97% of the people have been dismissed. It was very, very unfortunate. You're not going to find anything like that, but you're going to find a lot. And I've instructed him to go check out education, to check out the Pentagon, which is the military. And, sadly, you'll find some things that are pretty bad. But I don't think proportionally you're going to see anything like we just saw.
Oh, yeah. We are almost there, folks. And Wall Street Apes posting this 23 hours ago. This is why we need Elon Musk DOGE to do a full audit of the Department of Defense, because we need transparency. One of the most important files leaked from the Pentagon. The files revealed a blueprint for setting up a Ukraine war. These are the secret projects that our money is funding.
So explain that to people. I'm definitely not an expert on this. But
it seems like a blueprint for setting up this war.
Yes, and a very sensitive document. I mean, John Kirby, he's like Biden's spokesperson. He's the guy who lied about the Nord Stream, in the press room. Mm-hmm. And he came out and said, he specifically told media, don't cover this.
Well, now it's getting covered. It's all coming to light. And Elon Musk's team, this is from Wall Street Apes as well, 18 hours ago. When Elon Musk's DOGE team audits the Department of Defense, this needs to be looked at. Dr. Stephen Greer, the founder of the Disclosure Project, exposes how the DOD works with the military-industrial complex to create unaccountable money.
There's 2 points illegal.
That was Stephen Greer on the Sean Ryan Show. Here we have the Doctrine of Common Sense. Western Lensman posting this 24 hours ago. Doctrine of Common Sense. Scott Jennings forced to educate hyperventilating Democrat activists, insisting that Elon has gone rogue.
No, I'm terrified. He's not acting, as Scott likes to say, on behalf of the president. He is acting on behalf of himself. And I think people should be very scared about that.
You're terrified that the FBI might have the internet? I mean,
I'm terrified that Elon Musk is putting people in federal agencies to figure out business opportunities for him.
I think
and that's true, Scott.
This is the richest man in the world. This man,
that's concerning.
And he's like sleeping on on the floor of a government office building 7 days a week in order to help this government. The spending is interesting. We're not going to balance the budget based on these spending cuts, although some of this stuff is patently, objectively ridiculous. And when I see Democrats rushing out to defend some of the things that, that he's cutting, I mean, it makes the Democratic Party sink to very low levels. But what I see him actually doing, and the most important thing he's doing, is enforcing the doctrine of common sense. This was the doctrine that Trump laid out in his inaugural address. What is the ideology of the Republican Party right now? It is best described as enforcement of common sense. We have uncommon nonsense on the left, and we have common sense. And when you look at what the government is doing, agency after agency, and spending some of our money, we're not going to balance it on a $79,000 grant here or there, but we are going to restore common sense, and that's the point.
Well, if Republicans were serious about balancing the budget, then they should put forward a tax that doesn't explode the deficit. So if we want to have that conversation, we can have it.
Democrats
because
balance the budget
because
after
that's just not where the Republicans are.
You're for higher taxes.
But I think that
you want to continue.
I'm for a tax code that doesn't explode the deficit and actually benefits working people and business, and not just.
How about no tax code? That would be fine with me. Here we have the U.S. Air Force. To define, this is 48 hours ago. U.S. Air Force is paying $90,000 for a bag of bushings that normally costs under $100.
This, Mr. Secretary, is a bag of bushings. This bag of bushings, stamped out by machinists, they need a high school diploma. It's not anything high tech about this. All of this bag is compliant with the FAA specifications. How much do you think the Air Force pays for this bag of bushings?
I don't know, Congressman.
$90,000. This is a $90,000 bag of bushings that you need for any jet turbine engine. just to operate. So the exorbitant cost due to DOD only buying commercial parts from the OEMs, which is essentially sole source, is literally driving us out of business. I mean, the interest on our debt alone is now exceeding, for the first time in American history, the entire defense budget. We can't afford it anymore. This
$90,000 for a bag of bushings. And here we have Ilhan Omar. She says we're in a constitutional crisis because her beloved USAID is being defunded. Oh, no.
Congress is. Yeah, I mean, what we are witnessing is a constitutional crisis. We are seeing an executive branch that has decided that they are no longer going to abide by the Constitution in honoring Congress's role in the creation of the agencies, in their role in deciding where money is allocated. Yeah, I mean, what we are.
Yeah, maybe just report to prison. Here we have Alex Jones. The DOGE is coming for the Federal Reserve. President Trump orders Elon Musk to attack the globalist mothership. Trump has directed DOGE auditors to investigate the private run-for-profit Federal Reserve System. The secretive corporation established by the Fed Act of 1913 represents the capstone of the globalist unelected deep state. Fed Chairman Jerome Powell has publicly pledged to disregard Trump's authority, setting the stage for a major upcoming confrontation. Alex Jones breaking that news, and it is absolutely glorious. Here we have another share from Elon Musk just 16 hours ago. Let's listen in.
Services. This just in from the Department of Government Efficiency. In the past 48 hours, Health and Human Services has canceled 62 contracts worth $182 million. The contracts were entirely for administrative expenses, to include $168,000 contract for an Anthony Fauci exhibit at the National Institute of Health Museum.
Anthony,
I would like all of the income taxes that I've paid since I've been alive and working to be returned to me ASAP. This just in
Anthony
from
Fauci exhibit? No, thank you. No, thank you. Here we have more. This is from Alex 20 hours ago. Breaking video. Communist Muppet Bernie Sanders caught red-handed spewing insane lies about Elon Musk. Let's listen.
Let's be clear about what's happening right now in Washington, D.C. Elon Musk is the wealthiest guy in the world. He contributed $270 million to elect Donald Trump as president. Surprise, surprise. He is now having the most important job in the United States government. That's what happens when you make a huge campaign contribution. And by the way, Musk today is $150 billion wealthier than he was before Trump was elected. How's that?
How is that? How is that, Bernie Sanders? Maybe it's because he has all these corporations that they're just kicking ass all over the globe. You're going to try and connect that to his government cuts at DOGE? Yeah, let's see.
Now, what Musk is trying to do right now is to destroy USAID, a program which helps hungry and sick children all over the world, the poorest people in the world. That's what the richest guy in the world is doing. Today, he's going after USAID. Trust me, tomorrow, he will be going after the programs that impact you and your family.
Yeah, well, it's about time. Elon Musk reposting this from 17 hours ago. This looks like his speech at the inauguration.
How? And we're going to take DOGE to Mars. I mean, can you imagine how awesome it will be to have American astronauts plant the flag on another planet for the first time? Bam! Bam! 'Cause, you know, How inspiring would that be? You know?
I think that would be pretty cool. Here we have DOGE subcommittee 9 hours ago posted this improper federal payments. The first DOGE committee hearing is this week on the 12th. That's when I will be arriving in Washington, D.C. to get my press credentials the following day. I'm going to see if I can try to get to some of these committee hearings, but either way, we're going to continue to bring you the news while I'm in D.C. $250 billion in a year. In the first 3 years of the Biden regime, wasted $250 billion. Your money sent to fraudsters, dead people, illegal aliens, foreigners, and unqualified people. What do we have here? This is from the DOGE subcommittee.
$1 per government has wasted nearly $3 trillion in taxpayer money since
$170 billion in improper payments last year.
$247 billion.
Billions blown on improper payments.
Made to people that should not have received them.
Overpayments, payments to the wrong recipient.
Dead people received more than $530 million last year in pension payments. Medicare paying $47 billion.
Hundreds of billions of dollars.
Medicaid improperly issuing $81 billion.
$644 million was fraud.
And $764 billion under 3 years of the Biden administration. These improper payments have piled up to a total of $2.8 trillion.
$20 billion per month, or enough to pay for 5 years of U.S. foreign aid to all countries.
For every man, woman, and child across the country, it was $850.
Now, who is receiving these payments? Well, in some instances, dead people.
Thank you, Jesus. Okay, we got this. This just in. Elon Musk again. This guy's on fire. 16 hours ago, he says, he's quote tweeting Natalie F. Danielshen, who says the U.S. Department of Education spent at least $1 billion on grants advancing diversity, equity, and inclusion in hiring, programming, and mental health training in America. This is the headline from Fox News. Over $1 billion on DEI grants. Here is Elon Musk, what he said. He says those are just the explicit DEI grants found. Vastly worse is that every education and research grant made over the past 4 years required DEI in one form or another. Oh, yes, it is all being pulled back. The curtain is being pulled back. Everyone's getting exposed. Here's Sarah Sansoni. Good morning. Happy Super Bowl Sunday. Of course, this was yesterday during the Super Bowl. One more thing. Our money has been wasted on $1.2 million to study binge drinking and if there is a baby boom 9 months after the Super Bowl. $1.2 million to study binge drinking and if there's a baby boom 9 months after the Super Bowl. And this was a headline from the Daily Mail calling it the dumbest study ever to find out the obvious. Ridiculous. Okay. Okay. What do we got here? This is Saint L, 16 hours ago, details on how USAID got to the top of the DOGE list. Oh, let's listen.
If you remember, on Adam Shifty Schiff walked right into President Trump's trap. Y'all like the video and check this out.
So let's turn quickly to the funding freeze. How does that fit into this effort? There was a memo, as we know, to freeze all federal funding, federal loans and assistance. We saw the reports, the days of chaos.
Now, that memo that he's talking about was actually an executive order that Trump signed that froze all foreign aid for 90 days. But what if I told you guys that 90-day freeze on foreign aid was actually a trap that President Trump specifically set to catch fraud and abuse? You know what? Take a look at this.
How U.S. aid got to the top of the DOGE list, I think, is one of the most interesting aspects of this story. So, if you remember, on January 21st, Trump decided he would do a bunch of executive orders, right? And one of them was to pause foreign aid for 90 days. Okay, this seems reasonable. We got to take care of our country. That was part of his mandate for becoming the 47th president of the United States. So a couple of days later, the White House said, hey, this U.S. aid leadership is trying to circumvent the executive order. In other words, they're just going to keep paying people even though the executive order came out. That alerted the DOGE team. So Elon confirmed this on X. He said, quote, All DOGE did was check to see which federal organizations were violating the president's executive orders the most.
Genius.
Turned out to be USAID, so that became our focus. And according to NBC, security officials at USAID tried to prevent DOGE from even getting into the building or accessing the systems. To your point, Antonio, the person probably who's got the most to hide is the one who's going to fight the most. Over the weekend, DOGE gained access to USAID, and then people started tweeting out all of this, crazy spend and things that any American who looks at it and says, wait a second, if we haven't fixed the goddamn water in Flint, Michigan, why are we sending money to Galway or in Ireland to do a DEI musical? This makes no sense.
Did you guys hear that? So Trump's executive order that froze foreign aid for 90 days was actually a genius-level trap, and USAID walked right into it.
Let me know what you think about that in the comments. Make sure you like.
Well, I think it's pretty awesome, actually. Quite the trap. And Test Dummy posts this guy saying, I'm guessing he was a liberal. He says he's not paying taxes anymore.
$75,000. I just went in and had my taxes done. This year I earned $85,727. My net take home was $75,415. In federal taxes, I paid $10,312, and now they're telling me I still owe the federal government $1,428 for a total of $11,740 just in federal tax. Now, somebody please explain to me why the average citizen, the little guy, is paying $11,000 in tax, and our politicians are blowing that money on bullshit. I'm not paying taxes anymore. Kiss my ass.
Yeah, the American people are completely fed up. Here's one. A woman who once said she wasn't a fan of Elon Musk is now increasingly supporting him for exposing wasteful spending and pushing for government cuts. This is where all Americans should stand. I meme, therefore I am posting this.
See Clinton's wedding? Not a huge fan of Trump. I'm even less of a fan of Elon Musk. But I have to tell you, what we're learning right now about how these funds that were supposed to be used for development in these nations we're finding out that they've been funneled to our congressmen. Chelsea Clinton's wedding? Are you kidding me? And why does Saudi Arabia need Sesame Street? I don't get it. And that's the least of it to me. That one I'm okay, maybe we can make sense of that one. But what is going on right now and what is being uncovered, I think, is the exact thing that the Congress has been scared of and why they want to ban TikTok. Because everyone on TikTok has been talking about shit like this. And this is not one party. This is bipartisan. This is the Republicans and the Democrats. They are all misappropriating our taxpayer money. I'm not going to be afraid to come out here and tell you how I feel about that. And I know because I just said that, so many of you are going to unfollow me. That's okay. What they're discovering with these funds in our Congress, I am here for it. Never liked.
I'm here for it too. Okay, 15 hours ago, we have this as well. Can you believe your taxpayer dollars were being spent on a Fauci exhibit? Mariano Fall, Fauci Museum exhibit axed as DOGE slashes $182 million in HHS spending. A $168,000 tribute to Fauci just got yanked. That's right. $168,000 got doged, they said. Doge, is that going to be the word we're going to use now? Doge. Part of 62 administrative contracts canceled in 48 hours, none affecting actual healthcare programs. Meanwhile, Trump defends yanking Fauci's security detail. You can't have them forever because you work for government. The former COVID czar keeps his Biden pardon but loses his museum wing. Times change fast in Washington, D.C. Oh, baby. Keep the party going. Here's Elon Musk talking about the agencies must stick to what Congress authorized. This appears to have been recorded during his appearance on the Joe Rogan podcast November 4th of last year.
By Congress. If Congress has created an agency, then, often if you look at the law is pretty simple. The agency has a very simple task, but then that agency over time vastly increases its authority. and starts doing things that were never authorized by Congress. That's happened with pretty much every agency. You can curtail the agencies to be much smaller and say, you got to stick to what Congress authorized instead of all this other stuff you're doing. Like if Congress
keep it simple. Just stick with what Congress has authorized. Here is more from Elon Musk posting 14 hours ago. Chamath, the media was not independent at all. Look at the incentives. The media, which is supposed to be an objective intermediary between the government and the people, was not independent at all. Wonder why.
The media, who are supposed to be this intermediary layer that's totally objective between the government and the people, were not independent at all, but had all kinds of hidden incentives. $8 million to Politico, several $1 million to the BBC. I think it's important to ask what's going on. And by the way, that also has historical context. This is exactly what happened in the 60s and 70s, where it turned out that record companies were paying DJs to pay songs. There was a huge set of lawsuits and trial cases, and the result was a change in the law, right? And we call that payola now, which is you cannot take this money without disclosing it. And so had this money been absorbed by these entities and actually disclosed, maybe we'd be okay. But Nick, I sent you a link. Maybe you can throw it on the screen for these guys. This is a very simple manifestation of this cycle. We talked about this, guys, and we didn't realize how connected it all was. But we were asking ourselves during the election cycle last year, why are all these articles buried? Why aren't we really getting the truth? And it turns out that the people who were responsible for telling the truth, somewhere along the chain, were cajoled or just told not to tell the truth, influenced by all of this back channel money that was going back and forth from the government to these folks. Okay.
Yep. It's all coming out now, and we are absolutely celebrating it. Elon Musk 24 hours ago. What's actually scary is that the government has your personal info. How much do you trust the deep state? By the way, at PayPal, we had the detailed financial data of 100 million plus people. Never once was it abused. Yeah. See, people are screaming, oh my goodness, Elon Musk has access to treasury payment programs and social security numbers. Oh, woe is me. We need to stop this. Brian Eastwood saying, if Elon Musk did have your personal data, would you care? I wouldn't, right? And I mean, Elon Musk founded PayPal. How much information have you submitted to PayPal? And during Elon Musk's time there, right? So I think it's all very clear. This is all scare tactics that are coming out of the radical left, and they're terrified that their racket's being exposed. Mike Lee, 24 hours ago, one of the many factors that make Social Security a ripoff for most Americans compared to essentially any legitimate retirement investment. He was quote tweeting Elon, who said he just learned the Social Security database is not deduplicated, meaning you can have the same Social Security number many times over, which further enables massive fraud. Oh, man, it is all coming clear. And Mario Fall, 48 hours ago, says this is Joe Rogan saying DOGE's work is far from over. They've just begun to expose USAID.
That there is also...
Chamath said that it's going to be like Iran-Contra on steroids. That's what he said. He said when you get to the bottom of all this, it's going to be insane. Because they haven't even got to the Medicaid yet. They haven't even got to the medical stuff. There's so much they haven't even tapped into where they think the real motherload of fraud is.
Yes, and I must say that there is also another aspect to this which we have to be careful about, which is that the justifiable anger at discovering what it is that we've been dragged into as a nation is going to make it hard to see where the limits ought to be in terms of upending this stuff. In other words, at the moment, I'm cheering for the wrecking ball.
Right.
Yep. Break this stuff up.
Yeah.
Never again. But there are...
What's that, Jamie?
I was reading an article about the spending on the chargers. They said that they haven't actually, according to this, they haven't actually spent all that money yet.
Well, what do they do with it?
They've spent some of it to make some of those things, but it hasn't been allocated yet. It's a long article going through all the spending that's been done. It's on factcheck.org.
Factcheck.org. Who runs that?
I don't know. Some of the chargers have been made. Some of them are on the way to be made, and they've built 61 at 15 stations since mid-August, or through mid-August. 14,900 more are currently in some stage of development. But that's where it goes into like where they are, what they have to be done, and who's getting the money from them. It has to be done through a long process from each state.
Oh, man. And speaking of wrecking balls, one of my favorite follows over on X is Memes. He posted this. We reposted it as well. This is clearly an AI-generated video of the wrecking ball DOGE in action of the Trump administration just reorganizing and exposing Washington, D.C., and all of their corrupt practices. Donald Trump, the boss. You can see it. Look at the DOGE bulldozer. Look at Kamala running, and there's AOC. They're just having complete meltdowns in this AI video. I would normally play the audio, but this is set to that song, Wrecking Ball. Look at all of them. Oh, it's beautiful. You need to go check out my X account, or just check out Memes. There's Nancy. All the wrecking balls are there. Maxine Waters. Okay. Pam Bondi. Yeah. Oh, there's Don Trump Jr. Donald Trump with his golden sledgehammer. Elon Musk with the golden Thor hammer. Oh, yeah. It's beautiful, folks. It is absolutely beautiful to witness all these things happening. We also have this. Democrats are now... Gunter Eagleman. Democrats are in support of shutting down the government? Is that right? Fine by me. Shut it down and cut it by 90% while it's shuttered.
To join my next question, because your colleague Jeff Merkley basically said he's prepared to try to shut down the government over some of these sledgehammer actions that he's seeing by Elon Musk. Are you prepared to shut down the government, to join Democratic colleagues who want to stand in the way of keeping the government open?
Well, you have to look at what the Trump administration is doing right now. They are simply trying to they are simply trying to dismantle the government. So yes, look, if we have to take steps to be able to hold them accountable, use the leverage that we have to force it, I cannot support efforts that will continue this lawlessness that we're seeing when it comes to this administration's actions. And for us to be able to support government funding in that way, only for them to turn it around to dismantle the government, that is not something that should be allowed.
So just to be...
Yeah, so you think you're going to shut down the government, you're going to stop Elon Musk? Man, that guy's going to work for free. Okay, he'll probably pay his own staff to go in there and get it done. He's the richest man in the world. You can't threaten him or Trump with a government shutdown, okay? Because they have a mandate from the American people, and the wrecking ball will continue to swing. Bring it, baby. So the numbers don't lie. $250 billion in improper payments in just the first 3 years of the Biden administration. Dead people receiving checks, money flowing to foreign countries for transgender dance festivals, a Fauci museum exhibit that nobody asked for. This isn't just government waste. It is the systematic theft of your hard-earned money. And here's the question nobody in the mainstream media will ask. If this is what they found in just the first few weeks, what else are they hiding? What other shocking misuses of your tax dollars are still waiting to be discovered? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And while we're exposing the truth, why not display it proudly? Grab your exclusive Mag Avengers gear at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com before it's gone.